Rather than straight on the back of yesterday's news with both Emi Martinez, if you can call it that, and also what's going on with Matheus Cunha, it seems like United aren't slowing down at all. The news came out last night that United have held face-to-face talks with Ipswich striker Liam Delap, which makes sense because it is the only name that we've kind of been seeing regularly getting linked to. For me, it's obvious that that's the sort of direction that the club want to go to. If we've held face-to-face talks with him, that's obviously because we are about to meet his fee. He does have a release clause, which seemingly United are willing to meet. However, Chelsea are supposedly also in the mix with discussions planned with them as well. Now, at 22, he scored 12 Premier League goals this season, which accounted for 34% of all of the goals that Ipswich actually managed to accrue. He's got physicality. He likes to press. He's got good movement. It does make him a promising talent, someone that Jason Wilcox is reportedly keen on, seeing Delap as a long-term asset. But I think this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because reports suggest Ruben Amorim prefers a move for a more seasoned striker, and that's where your two Victors come in, Viktor Osimhen or Viktor Gyökeres. Now, Osimhen, supposedly the wages is going to be a massive drama in terms of getting him over the line. In terms of Gyökeres, there's a lot of other clubs in the mixer as well because of the goal scoring that he's shown us, but also because of his relatively low release fee, which, to be fair, it sounds like Viktor Osimhen's going to be in that kind of ballpark at least anyway, at least on the fee, if not the wages. Now, that to me indicates a little bit of a split in terms of United's hierarchy. And I guess we will find out who wins that when we sign whichever striker it is that we sign. Because, I mean, surely we have to sign a striker. There can't be any other way around it. We have to sign a striker. If we end up bringing in Delap, then clearly the footballing board, the likes of Jason Wilcox, have got the power. And if we bring in a Gyökeres, it indicates that Ruben Amorim has got the power. Or at some point they've sat down and they've done some sort of an agreement to bring in whichever player they decide to bring in. People will paint either option as the bad option and either option as the good option. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the dynamic between the two of them. I can understand the requirement from Ruben Amorim thinking about his own future. Jesus, mate, I need some goals quick. This team can't score goals. Get me a Gyökeres. Get me an Osimhen. I can absolutely understand his perspective in that front. And I can understand Wilcox. Wilcox's job is to sort of protect the club and stop the club doing what's seen as short-term buys with no resale value. That's his job. You know, you've got two people whose jobs here ultimately want the same thing, but might go around it in a slightly different manner of doing it. So like I said, it'll probably be painted as a good thing or a bad thing depending on people's preference. Personally, I'd like to see Gyökeres. I don't think we're going to see Gyökeres. I think it probably will be Delap. I just get the vibe that the club's going to decide, and that's what we're going to go for. Now, he is just less than half the price. Does that make a massive difference? I'm not sure. But he is about half the price. Now, Gyökeres obviously has been extremely prolific this season. 53 goals, experienced, proven track record. Obviously worked with the manager before, so the manager knows exactly what he's getting. Delap, it is more of a modest fee, 30 million. I think it's 58.5, I think it is, for Gyökeres in pounds. It's a gamble to go with Delap. Can you sit there and say he can definitely score as many? No, you can't. Can you sit there and say that Gyökeres will definitely score as many in the Premier League? I don't think you can. You don't know. So there is no right answer. There's only hindsight, and there's gambles, and that's the truth. It's a gamble on potential. It's a gamble on adapting to the Premier League. It's a gamble on both. Now, which one you prefer? I don't know. United absolutely need goals. The current forward line is underperforming. Delap definitely brings in not just goals, but also the way he brings it in. Now, maybe there's a dual approach. Maybe there's a way to bring in like somebody like a Jonathan David. You know, he's not the only one that's going to be available on a free this summer, that's for sure. But what if you brought in a Jonathan David and you had a Delap? Because honestly, United could accommodate both. That might be the move. Delap would represent a bit of a strategic investment, but for £30 million, it's a hell of a gamble when you can go out there, you know. I know doubling the price is doubling the price, but for double the money, you can get someone that's unbelievably hot. So there's risks and there's benefits to either in terms of the options, but you know, the club are going to do what they're going to do. And for me, it does feel like we've at least entertained the idea of Gyökeres. Now, maybe he's waiting to see if we get Champions League football. Maybe the club are waiting to see if we get Champions League football. Maybe they're negotiating on multiple fronts at the same time, because we know that that's happened in the past, albeit under a different regime. You know, but the smart money would be to negotiate with 4 or 5 targets at the same time. And we know that clubs do that. We know that Manchester United do that, or at least have done that in the past. So, yeah, at the moment, when you look at just the raw data, the unfortunate thing in terms of chances that he's got and chances that he converts, sadly, not a lot in between Delap and Rasmus Højlund. I think he's a more aggressive player. I think he would run the line a little bit better. I think his movement in the box is a bit better. But you're not talking about, oh my God, yeah, definite upgrade. If he stays fit, 20 goals. Because I still don't think he's there. He might be 14, 15 goals. He might be 16 goals. I don't think he's the guaranteed 20. And even though I don't think you're going to sign Gyökeres and see him hit 50 next season, I think he would be closer to your 20 goals. I just see more movement, more quality, better finishing. You know, can he handle the physicality of the Premier League? Well, he handled the physicality of the Championship. So my gut tells me that Gyökeres would be the better signing. But if he don't want to come, I mean, if you don't want to come, you don't want to come, and that's that, innit? If you can't make somebody come. Yeah, but this is a very important signing for United, because we've had a shortage of strikers in the past. Even when we had Cavani and Ronaldo and Mason Greenwood and Anthony Martial, we still didn't have the striker that we needed, even though that situation was 1,000,000% more preferable to the situation that we find ourselves in right now. That still wasn't good enough. So I don't see how, you know, you couldn't have Højlund and Delap and a Jonathan David, or even if you brought in Gyökeres and kept older Højlund, and hope that you can work on him out of the limelight a little bit and see if you can polish up what the skills he does have, change his way of playing a little bit, because how he's played this season, that desire to hand fight, can't see that again. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Please let me know yours. Liam Delap. It's going to cause a lot of arguments, this one, I think, if we sign him. Is it the right thing to do? Do we just need to just forget it and go for someone like a Gyökeres or an Osimhen? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.